But anyway, we drew the lines, the diamond of a baseball field.
Yeah.
You know? And then we collected all the gravel we could, right? And then we made the baseball lines and bases with gravel. It looked real nice. Remember, it was Helen's, my friend's backyard, you know? And his name was Alan. And and Kathy's fence was like great because it was like, you know, in baseball, you could hit a home run in their backyard, you know? And we were having a ball, and then Alan comes back, you know? His father goes out to mow the lawn. Man, he had a purple face. Oh my God! Oh. And my brother Randy, you know, we had sidewalk for a bit, and then it was just a dirt walk.
Yeah.
You know, up to the corner. You know, and there was this old like farmhouse right here, and the people in there were very nice, and but they didn't have no sidewalk. It was all dirt. And what Randy would do is, I guess he had an old blanket or whatever, and he would, in the summertime when you get very little rain and it got very dusty and dry, you know, well, my mother would wash clothes, and all the neighbors, everybody, you know, they hung them outside to dry, you know, on a clothesline. And Randy would take this blanket, you know, and he would drag it on that dirt walk, you know, and of course it made all kinds of dust, you know, and he would do it, and he would call it smoky dirt. And the problem with that was, it used to go on all the clean clothes. Smoky dirt. But I remember a funny story. My father had rose bushes, you know. As you pull in the driveway, there was a hedge of rose bushes real high, and on the other side was that old farmhouse, right? And we had cats, you know. Randy loved cats. Anyway, we come back, and he likes to walk and all that stuff, you know, through the woods and all that. And he came back, you know. He was on the driveway going home. I guess he was going to get washed or whatever. And he looks. Oh yeah, there's two stories about those rose bushes. The first one is he looks and he thinks he sees one of the cats. Now Randy was very athletic, so I don't know how he did it, to tell you the truth. But he was able to jump over those rose bushes, you know? Just like you see on TV, those guys climbing fences and all that, you know, in these different crime shows. Anyway, he gets over the rose bushes and he grabs the cat, the pet. But guess what? It wasn't a cat. It was a skunk. We had to bury his clothes. The other one was, I used to do good deeds. Some of the neighbors had big dogs. And to get money, I could walk the dog, you know. And they gave me this big, giant police dog, and you know, I'm walking the dog, you know, but near the rose bushes. Remember, they're all, I don't know if you realize, but it's all thorns, so you really could get scratched up, right? So anyway, I'm walking this dog, and he sees a rabbit or something, right? And he puts his head down. I'm holding him, and then he goes right through the rose bushes at what he thought was a rabbit. The only problem was, I was holding onto his leash, and I went through the rose bushes too. Oh, man. And then I had a real big cat. He almost looked like, big tomcat, right? And I called him, we named him Don Rondo, because there was a guy who made a song years ago, a country song called White Silver Sands. And later, I called him Pops Lombardo, because he liked to roam and look for female cats. They came back with one eye all ripped up, you know. And anyway, he's on the front lawn sunning himself, you know, looking like that, right? And the neighbor next door had these big giant rabbits. I forget, there's a special name for them, you know, when the big ears, they lay down, a huge rabbit. So there's a huge black rabbit on the front lawn, right? Bigger than the cat. And the cat's big. And the rabbit's here, and the cat's over there, and my dog Nipper is over here. So none of them barked, or none of them hissed. But they put their nose down, and the cat went up like that, and the dog went up like that. And all of a sudden the rabbit went like that, right? And then the rabbit turned and he went 100 miles an hour in that direction. The cat turned around and went 100 miles an hour in that direction, and the dog went 100 miles an hour in that direction. That's right up. The dog had an affinity for lime. You know, people would put lime down as for fertilizer, you know, for their lawns, their gardens and all that. And my dog would like to lick it. So the neighbors would call complaining, "You're a blankety blank dog and licked up my..." We cracked up, man. I don't know why she liked lime. Strange, bizarre. But the dog was raised by cats, you know. He always had a lot of cats and a dog. And the cats would eat in pecking order based on their age and strength, and the dog would just butt right in. But because the dog was raised from a puppy with the cats, the dog knew how to fight cats. And I had some pretty strong. I had one cat. We called her Velvet. She was the vault of horror. She was a rough cat. What Velvet would do is a big police dog or a Doberman Pinscher or something, you know, be roaming, and the cat would hide, right? And as the dog went by, the cat would jump and land on the back of the dog, right?
Yeah.
And it was like watching a rodeo, you know?
Yeah.
You know, when they go on a bull and, you know, it was just a dodo, the cat's right. But my dog, Nipper, it was funny. This is a true story. We went up into the mountains, and up there they have bobcats, right? And Nipper's loose, and a bobcat comes out of the woods, right? I said, "Oh my God, I'm going to lose my dog now," right? So cats like this, you know, bobcats are pretty big and strong.
Yeah.
My dog started to bark, right? The cat's getting ready to wipe him out. And just as the cat's getting ready, my dog puts her head down. See, what she used to do is with cats, when the cats were getting ready to attack her, you know, the dog would know the sense and put his head down and hit that cat like somebody going after a quarterback, you know?
Yeah.
And roll the cat. Well, the dog did that and hit that bobcat before he had a chance to get set, and hit him so hard that he kept rolling, right? And took off. And I stood there mystified, man. I said, "Wow." But the dog was really good, very, very fast, and knew how to fight cats, you know? It was an amazing story, man. She actually raised a litter of cats. The cat, some of the cats, sometimes a cat had one litter too soon, you know, one back to back.
Yeah.
They were kind of like milked out, and they didn't want to raise them no more. And they
Yeah.
let them die, you know. But the dog had a litter and had one puppy, and the puppy died. So the dog was full of milk,
Yeah.
and didn't have any puppies, right? So the cat abandoned these kittens. So the dog raised them. And it was funny because they grew up to be big cats. But really, they didn't really meow. They tried to bark, you know? You know, and my father gave them away to friends, and they would call up and say, "Your cat is beautiful, but he tries to bark." And the dog would try to purr. Oh,
Yeah.
my God. That was really funny, man. Yeah. Well, I got to go visit my buddy who I frequently most often, as they say. So
Senor Bagno, I take it.
yeah, I got to go to the buckhouse. I found out what the buckhouse means. The buckhouse means outhouse. You know, I used to go to a church that had no plumbing in it, and no electricity. There's no beat up wooden church. Nice though, but when you had to go to the bathroom, the outhouse was in the back. The only problem was the outhouse was all beat up. It was full of spiders and everything else in there.
Oh yeah.
You know, oh man, that was pretty wild when I go to that bathroom. And I always thought, if I'm having a problem as a guy, you know, how did a poor woman have to go back there? You know?
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty wild, man. Yeah. And then another thing I just remembered too when I was a kid. Remember I told you about the woods? Well, we like to go in the woods, you know, and we called them the Indian graves. Yeah, old Dutch settlers from the 1600s, and you could every once in a while you find a tombstone, right?
Yeah.
From 16 something, you know.
All right.
So we called them the Indian, and I used to be able to find arrowheads and everything, you know, on the ground. You know, I never thought about it till now that I'm an old timer, you know. some of the good times I had that are lost, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever have that anymore. Yeah, but I used to hang out in Indian graves all the time. They were sort of like swamps and stuff, you know. It's pretty wild in there, man. All kinds of snakes and everything else. Oh, God. I used to like to collect frogs. I used to love to collect frogs. And I'd throw in my drawer sometimes some snakes too, so my mother would come up to clean the bedroom. You know, she opened the drawer and checked my sock drawer, and there would be frogs and snakes in there. And then I collected snapping turtles. I built a big thing in the backyard. This is long before we got a pool, you know.
Yeah.
So it's pretty beat up back there, you know. I used to collect snapping turtles, you know, put them in the back there. And my mother loved that. She had a bird bath in the middle of the backyard and a couple of peach trees, right, and a weeping willow tree. And I would go back there, and she'd go back there and check on the bird bath and see all these snapping turtles. Oh, I'm gonna whip you, I'm gonna whip your head. And my mother I was afraid of, because she was a redhead, you know. And my father yelled a lot, but my mother usually let me have it, you know. So yeah, that's pretty wild.